It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hello there guys, I'm back again to do another tattoo progress update. Where I last left off, I showed off the new thicker lines and the red added to my lower arm here by Rick. You can see the red is peeling, the red velvet fusion is peeling. The black has yet to really start peeling. It's kind of starting to peel a little bit in places, I guess. And some of the red is fully peeled. It went in really easy, and the heel was obviously really easy. I've never really had a hard heel with Rick ever, so no surprise there. Yeah, I was curious how that red was going to look because it's the first time Rick has used the red velvet, but not surprised to see that it's done very well for one pass. Again, Rick is a color guy. If you're going to get, I always say in my opinion, if you're working with Rick and you're not getting color, you're not getting your money's worth. It's what he loves to do, and it's what he's very good at. So yeah, we have nice solid patches of red here. I think we will probably do a second pass, but I don't think we really need to. I don't think it's prudent, especially not for what we're using the red for in this sleeve in particular. It's just to kind of background the tentacles and everything else that's going on in there. It's not super urgent, but in time, everything color will probably be passed twice. All of these, like these eyes on the outer, the yellow was done twice, but we didn't need to pass the blue-green. We may end up doing it again eventually. The inside, again, that's only been done once, so the color in there. But we'll probably pass all the color twice. Similarly to what we did with the chest, everything just looks more solid if you're willing to do it more than once. That being said, before I get into what I got done this time, I will say that the head, I've shaved. You can still see a bit of the black underneath in the front, but not in the sides and the back. That's pretty solid. I don't know what I'm looking at here. I'm hoping I'm showing it off. But again, it's hard to see the back, you know, when you're talking on camera. But the sides and back did better. They're very, very solid red already. I will be passing that twice, again, to solid that up. From a distance, you can't see it that much, but up close, you can still see the patchiness. And I think just one pass, that'll be pretty smooth in there. I already like it a lot more than the black, just the flat black. By this point, when I'm making this, a lot of people have seen the head blackout. This is how far ahead I am. People have just encountered the head blackout, and a lot of people were saying it looked like a friar look, like a monk or something, or some people seen my Franklin the Turtle similarity. A lot of people overall seem to prefer me bald, and then there are the people who prefer me with hair. But I've still got work to do before I grow my hair out. So now I had a session with Terry. I wasn't sure I wanted to do this. I was really on the fence about it. I had the third pass on my hand, so we changed up the finish on the fingers a little bit. They're more tattered looking. It's a little less uniform. I had showed this off in my last vlog, and I spoke about how it was quite a bit more solid than it was the first time when it was healed. But I always kind of knew that it would come to this. It always comes to this. To quote the line from the beginning of my video, whenever I get into doing something like this, it's never once. It's never once. Like when I did the red on my Spawn hand, back when this was a Spawn sleeve, that was 4 sessions of red on my hand to get it to be as solid as it ended up, and it was fucking solid red. Like it was bright red. This will never be bright red. We're using a dark red, so that's what we'll get, right? Again, this is over negative, so it's never going to be bright. If you want a bright red, you don't use a dark red. I still get people who are like, are you ever going to brighten up the red on your sleeve? It's like, I used a dark red, for fuck's sake. Anyway, not going to get into that. I've specifically used a dark red, so the intention is never for it to be this red. This would never be the case. It would never be that red on normal skin. But it always comes to this is... People always like that line in my opening, but it's pretty iconic for my channel, my tattoo journey, whatever, because it's never ever once, and it always goes to the extreme. I'm always ending up doing things more than once. In that video, that was the 4th time I had my belly button blacked out. I actually had it blacked out again after that, so it's been blacked out 5 times. I have a ton of scar tissue on my belly button. It's been pierced 3 times. So these hands, both hands, have been tattooed over 20 times. I would say closer to 25, 30 times now. It's hard to say. It is getting into those levels of extreme. Just in the amount of, like, maybe not every part of it has been tattooed that much. Every part of this hand has been tattooed at least 15 to 20 times. But in general, this hand has been tattooed. It's getting close to 30 times. And I would never say I'm done with it. Like, I would be hesitant to ever say that was the last time. What I would say always is that, and I've always said this, if you're wanting to do something at all, tattoo-wise, if you're willing to get it done once, you better be willing to get it done as many times as you have to, for it to be good. Good in your definition. So my hands have been good several times, for example. I got them to a place where I was good with them. Before I had sleeves, I had hand tattoos when I just had stars on my hands, and then I ended up connecting those to my sleeves, and then I ended up changing those and reworking them and adding to them and all this. I got them good multiple times, and then when I blacked them out, I think this hand took like 6 passes to black out because it was solid red. This hand was many passes as well, and then I had an infection in this hand, and both hands took many times to black out, and then when I extended to the fingers were each 3 sessions, and they could still be better. I still will probably do more black on my fingers eventually. It's just such an ungodly heal that it's always such a nightmare to heal those that I'm not really looking forward to it, but I will do the work on anything I start. There are times when I'm sitting for something and it's particularly terrible and I'm thinking, this isn't the last time I'm going to feel this. And I don't think I ever really want that. I don't think I ever really want to be in a place where I never have to feel it again. Like, there are people who, once they'll do something once, they feel like they've cleared it. Like, they never have to revisit that feeling again. But for me, it's like, I don't ever want to have a time in my life where I don't feel pain to some degree, whether it be mentally, emotionally, physically. These things kind of make you feel alive, and today I really wasn't in the mood to get my hand tattooed. To be quite honest, I wasn't in the mood to get my hand tattooed all week. I didn't want this at all. But that's partially why I sat for it. I didn't want the healing of it, you know? I didn't want to be babying this. I went over that in my last video. I didn't want to not be able to work out this week. There's always kinds of excuses that I'll make to myself to try and, you know, I don't need it that bad, or I don't really, like when it's something I don't want to do. And I feel like we do that with working out too. I'll make little deals with myself like, oh, I was up late last night. I don't want to work out. Oh, I had a hard week. Oh, this thing happened. Oh, those are the days that you need to do it the most. That goes for fitness, but it also goes for tattoos too for me. Anytime that my little voice in my head is trying to talk me out of something, that's exactly when I have to do it harder. That's exactly when I have to talk myself into doing it. That's when you need to commit most, is when you're at your weakest, I feel like. When you're talking yourself into running away or you're talking yourself out of doing something hard, that's when you need to double down and do it most. So, for example, when I say do it most, today I sat in a feeling I didn't want, and I purposely kept chat with Terry to a minimum. I didn't fiddle with my phone much. I did take a few videos. I like to take a few videos just for to put in these YouTube videos. But I sat in that feeling and I forced myself to feel it. I didn't look away from it. I didn't. Sometimes I'll actively dissociate from something. So I'm very good at meditating away from a feeling, or like pretending it's not happening, or thinking about something else, those kinds of things. This session, I forced myself to be very present for it and just really almost study the pain, because to some degree, there's going to come a day when I don't do this again. There's going to come a day when it's the last time I'm getting my hand tattooed. I do want to get this finished to a place where I don't need it to be any better. I do want that. But when I get to that point, I won't have a logical reason to tattoo it again. And though I do just enjoy getting tattooed, I'm not illogical. I've had some people say, you're just getting tattooed for the sake of getting tattooed because it's an addiction. It's like, no, if I can't justify it, then I'm not going to do it. Like, for example, I haven't blacked out my palms because I can't justify that. There has to be a justification or an end game to it. So there will come a point when I don't have a reason or an excuse good enough to do this again, and so I'll never get to feel that feeling again. And I'll miss it. Strangely, I'll miss it. It's not a good feeling in the moment, but I like the completion of it, and I like the finish point. You know, I like getting there. I like getting through it. I like being able to stare this in the face as it's happening sometimes, where it should be getting a little worse every time, but mentally I'm stronger than ever, and there's no giving me. You know, Terry was asking me if I thought if I were to stop getting tattooed for a few weeks or a few months or even a few years, if this would feel different than it does, because I'm doing the reps every week, you know, I'm so engaged in it. There's never a point for me to become unfamiliar with it. In so many words, that's what he was asking me today. And I was like, you know, I can't answer that question, but I'm sure I would. I'm sure if I weren't getting tattooed routinely a couple times a week, and I came back to it, then it would hurt more. So many people posit that it hurts more as you age. I don't think that's true. I think what happens is we get away from the pain, and then when we revisit it, it feels worse. It's not actually worse. It's that we become out of rhythm with it. Now, someone's going to push back on that, but how many of those people that will push back on it are getting tattooed multiple times a week for over a decade, you know? I don't think that there's a good group to pull for that. But in my own experience, I think it's because I've never let myself get detached from the feeling for long enough to not understand it so well, you know? I live with it. I visit it every day. Basically, I've been healing something. There's been some degree of discomfort somewhere present in me every day for so long I've lost track. It's longer than I think it is. And so that is the normal to me. And that is the same reason why people ask me if I've ever tried numbing cream, and my answer is no. I'm actually more scared to try it because it's unfamiliar. I know what I'm doing so well. I'm very comfortable with it. There's no surprise in it for me. And so there's a degree of control that I get in sitting for a tattoo, that if I use numbing cream, I don't know what that feels like now. And I think the feeling nothing is a little scarier to me than even extreme pain, because I understand that more. Just a little side note there, but there will come a time when this will be the last time I get this hand tattooed, and I was thinking that today, like, I don't want to do this today, but it might be my last chance. Now, I will be getting this hand tattooed quite a bit still, but there's a last time for everything, and I feel like that's why we need to be a little more present, even in the bad things, because I don't want to find myself missing something that I took for granted. And at times we tend to take things for granted, and there's a lot of us with full body suits. You don't have to have as much work as me ever. That are going to tell you that, you know, they had a lot of fun getting tattooed, and when they get done, it's almost like a grief happens, and they don't know what to do with that. So they end up doing little touch-ups here or there just to kind of get a taste now and then. But eventually there will come a place where you don't have this in your life anymore. And this can go for any other thing too. You never know when you're going to watch your last hockey game, or you're going to go to your last movie, or you're going to kiss your wife for the last time. You don't know any of that. So I try, especially on the times when I'm feeling particularly disinterested in things, I try and force myself to be present for it. So that's what I was doing today. Anyway, I don't want to make this too philosophical. These are the kinds of things that go through my mind quite often. But anyway, I've got a lot of coverage here. We went up onto the wrist a little bit just to transition it in. I'm expecting it to be like even more red than last time, obviously, but I don't expect it to be perfect. I do think I'm going to take a long break from this hand, though. Whether I hit it again in this place, it'll be a while. So I'm done for now on it. Third pass, I think I put in the work on it this year. No one can say I haven't. And so if it works, it works. If not, I'm taking a break from it. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.